Okay, when it says to solve using synthetic division, right now you could use that all of the factors of 36 divided by all the factors of 1, and you would end up with about 18 different factors to guess and check. So we're not going to do that. We're going to use the calculator. Plug this into y equals. Put y equals this equation. And when you do that, go to the table and look for zeros in the y column. So you'll have the x column and the y column, and you would have, in this case, you have -1 gives you 0 and 3 gives you 0. So your zeros are -1 and 3. And we're going to plug those in using synthetic division to finish factoring, but that's going to give us 2 of the zeros. So I'm erasing this so I'll have a place to write. But we know that 2 of those are -1 and 3. So I'm going to do -1 first. And you have 1, -2, -15, 24, and 36. And I'm just going to bring the coefficients down from here. -1 times 1 is -1. You combine these to get -3. -1 times -3 is +3. You combine these to get -12. -1 times -12 is +12. You combine these to get 36. -1 times 36 is -36, and you combine them to get 0. That's your remainder. And so that means that -1 checked out, it worked. So now we're going to divide 3 into it. Bring the 1 down. 3 times 1 is 3. Combine these to get 0. 3 times 0 is 0. Combine these to get -12. 3 times -12 is -36. Combine these to get 0. This is your remainder. -12 is your number. There's 0 x's and 1 x squared. And so you have x squared minus 12 equals 0. You'd add 12 to both sides. X squared is 12. And when you take the square root of both sides, x equals plus or minus root 12. Root 12 does break down, so I'm going to come over here. Prime numbers that divide into 12 are 2, and it goes into there 6 times. 2 goes into 6 3 times. Since there are 2 2's, that's going to be written on the outside of the radical. That 3 is still left on the inside. And so your answer is plus or minus 2 root 3. That's two different zeros. You have +2 root 3 and -2 root 3. You have -1 and +3. We found 4 solutions, and we were looking for 4. Okay, so on number 18, when you plug that into the calculator, you get zeros to be -4 and 2. So I'm going to plug -4 in first, and I'm just going to leave the coefficients there, and we'll work with those. Bring the 6 down. -4 times 6 is -24. -24 and 1 will give you -23. -4 times -23 is 92. Subtract those two, and you get 15. -4 times 15 is 60, but it's a -60. Combine those and get 14. -4 times 14 is -56. Combine those and you get 0. That's a remainder, so we know -4 is a solution. And so then we're going to plug in 2. Bring the 6 down. 2 times 6 is 12. Combine these to get -11. 2 times -11 is -22. Combine these to get -7. 2 times -7 is -14. Combine these two to get 0, which means -2 is a 0. And so we're left with 6x squared minus 11x minus 7. And we can do it two different ways. We can use the quadratic formula, or you can multiply 6 times negative 7 and factor it. I think I'll factor. 6 times 7 is 42. The factors of 42 are 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, 4 doesn't go, 5 doesn't go, 6 goes 7 times, and then these are all your factors. This tells you that you're subtracting and you're going to get 11, and so when you subtract these two, you get 11. When you subtract, one's positive and one's negative. The bigger number takes this sign, whatever it is right there. So 14's bigger, it's going to get the negative. 3 has to be positive. So I'm going to rewrite this. 6x squared plus 3x minus 14x. See, this is written in those two forms. Minus 7. So we're going to group the first two and the last two. 3x comes out of the first set of parentheses, and you're left with 2x plus 1. You have 2x plus 1 here as well. Negative 7 divided by 7 would be minus 7. And if you distribute these, you end up with that, so it's factored correctly. So you have 2x plus 1 because it's written twice. And then you have 3x minus 7 because it's left over. But your zeros are negative 1/2 and 7/3. Remember that all you're really doing is its opposite of positive 1 is a negative 1 divided by the coefficient of x. Opposite of negative 7 is positive 7, and you divide by the coefficient of x. So you have your 4 zeros. You have these two, and you have these two. So we have 4, and we were looking for 4, so we're finished.